Aloha and welcome to the Renaissance Achiever with Sarah Fui. Today we have a very special guest, my dear friend Leināʻala Aina Launiu, also known as Ala. And she is from the Keokaha Pane'ewa homestead on Moku o Keawe. She is the founder of Waipahewale, a culturally rooted personal development and identity coaching business. This is dedicated to helping Indigenous people return to their truth, power, and purpose. As a Native Hawaiian spiritual identity coach, she guides others through ancestral reconnection, mindset liberation, and heart centered transformation grounded in Hawaiian values such as aloha, na'au, and ola. Thank you, Ala, for being here.
Yes, aloha.
And I'll tell a little bit background of how we know each other because I first met Ala 10 years ago when I first moved back to the island after living in Utah for 5 years. I just graduated from grad school and I had my first big girl job at this nonprofit organization, CFS. And we had a lot of different programs within the office, right? There's, I don't know, 10
Mhm.
programs. There's a lot of programs. So we
Yeah,
didn't work directly with each other, but we were kind of in
yeah.
the same space. And so I had recognized your face. I knew your family and I knew of one of your sisters. And so I knew your family name and that you were like an Aina, but I didn't know you personally. And actually we went to the same university and I probably had passed you on campus a couple times and I was like, I recognize her. Like we wouldn't even really, we've never had a conversation before, right? Until we worked together. But I do remember that job was like the most stressful job I've ever had in my life. I was like, out of grad school, didn't know what I was doing. I had young babies at home. I was on call 24/7 for emergency, working with foster youth with severe mental health disorders, along with their foster parents and their biological families, and coordinating everything. And it was a lot. And their CPS workers, everything. It was a lot. So I didn't know what I was doing. It was overwhelming. And I remember just being in the office late on a Friday one day, and you happened to be there just heading out, and you popped
Yeah,
by,
because we
came to
both be working the same type of crazy.
yeah, and you came by. We were probably like two of the last people there on a Friday night, right? So you just came by to
Yeah.
and we just talked stories for a while. And anyone who knows Ala, they know she can talk, right? Like
Mm. Yeah.
you're Miss
Yeah.
Aloha, and you just talk to everybody. And so I just honestly, there wasn't a lot of friendly people in the office, and so just to have your Aloha and you come to me and just talk stories made
Oh,
me feel welcome. Then I was like, oh yay, someone here who doesn't hate me. I'm sure people didn't hate me, but I think everyone was just like burnt out and in their own world. You know what I mean? And programs didn't interact, so that we didn't really know each other.
right.
Connection later on, you invited me to that group. We got our get our supervision to get our like
Mhm.
LCSWs. We're both social workers and licensed mental health therapists. So we've kind of like base over the years. But what's interesting is that it was really in the last year and a half of me actually living in Georgia that I feel like we got really
Yeah,
close, got
for
to know
sure.
each other at a different level, which is so funny because I was away. But now
Yeah.
she is just my closest titas right now. And I love her. And so I'm so excited to be on the podcast. And so I want to talk a little bit as coming from this background of being a mental health therapist and also working as a school counselor for many years. How did you transition into creating Waipahewale?
Yeah, so funny because same journey where basically the last year and a half, almost 2 years now, is kind of where I transitioned into where I'm at now. But to lead up to that, actually, I've always known since high school that I actually wanted to do like this type of work. I'm a graduate Kamehameha Schools, class of 2002, putting it out there, Silver Surfers. And any of our fellow Silver Surfers, we all know that we had a lot of loss, unfortunately, in our class from the time we were in high school and all the years following. But in high school, living in the dorms with all my sisters that I'm still super close with, but bringing all our families together from different islands, we see a lot of different things, right? Things that we all come together and had to experience. And so I knew from high school, because I used to go with some of my friends to go see the on campus counselor when we were dealing with things as adolescents away from home. And I always thought it was weird that we had to go talk to, no offense, but the old haole man, like just this old
Mhm.
haole man that was on campus. And I really felt like, does he even really understand us? I just, I don't know, I would have those questions. And, when I talk with my friends, there was some help that was there. And I just, from that time in my life, already had a drive to want to go into this field of mental health as a Kanaka. And, in order to help other Kanaka and have more of us sitting on this side of the seats, for the healing space. And so I've always known since high school that this was the route that I was going to go as far as mental health, behavioral health. I learned a lot of things along the way. Started off in the mainland and got an opportunity to do studies on Native Hawaiian identity while I was there in Oregon. Mahalo, shout out to Dr. ABG from Pacific
What?
University.
I didn't
Yeah.
know this. So
Yeah.
you studied on Hawaiian identity in
hmm
Oregon.
in Oregon. So yes, I was able to be a co-researcher as an underclassman because I was only a sophomore too. Usually you don't get to do research studies till you're junior, senior. But I was fortunate enough to be part of a research study on Native Hawaiian identity and college achievement.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What was the program under? Was it like anthropology? What was it?
Psychology. So I was under psychology.
Oh,
I went to Pacific University to do a double major psychology education. And so,
wow.
yes, so got to do that. Then after doing that, though, I realized I wanted to really do more research on Native Hawaiians. And so I came back home to finish my education back at home, had my family, and then for sure finished my bachelor's. And then transitioned from there. Yeah. So I've kind of been on this journey from high school to be part
Uh,
of like healing and help and reframing and learning things along my own way too.
I love how this has been a journey for you building from the time you were in high school where you saw this need. We need
Yeah.
Kanaka in this counseling space so that we can feel culturally understood by the people who are supposed to guide us through whatever struggles we're going through. And then going to school in Oregon, and of all places in Oregon, having this opportunity to see Hawaiian identity. And it just goes to show this is an over 20-year journey for you. And sometimes we feel called to these little things along the way that we're not sure why, but it's all stepping stones, compound,
Yeah.
building upon each other to lead you to this place eventually where, like, 25 years down the road, oh, this is what I'm doing. And I really feel called to
Yeah.
this work. And all of those little pieces had to add to the puzzle to lead me here. Yeah.
No, for sure. All the pieces, right? Because I had my oldest son, and then Keokua felt like I needed two more right away. Oh, three kids under the age of three. Yes, okay. Three and under. While I'm trying to get my bachelor's and do all the things, that's definitely another piece that I know I needed at the time, how to focus on being a mother, and a wife, mother and a wife, because co-parenting, raising our children together. And so, with our three kids, that's always a story. And then continue the journey, the education on the pathway that was meant for me. And that's how I got licensed. Like how you said you landed in Hilo first big time job. Same because moved to Hilo after I got my bachelor's, had other jobs. Child and family service was my first, I would say, legit full-time post degree official job that I had. Super stressful, but I'm Mahalo Pearl Nakamura. She was my supervisor. It's just the two of us running this one program that we were in. You guys are all there on the other side of the building, but super grateful for her and the opportunities because I did learn a lot. I fast track learned a lot about the community and the state of the Lahui right now, actually, as Kanaka over here in my hometown, right in Keokahilo, Big Island, Mokuokeawe. So I am grateful for that. And then from there, I was able to really branch out into counseling and doing more youth related work. And so where I landed here was actually like how you said, you and I got closer when you were in Georgia, of all places already, because you were living in Hilo and then you left and we got even closer. It was actually after I had baby number 4. So yes, I have a fourth Pepe, fourth Keiki, 13 years after my youngest one, and dreamt of this baby in 2018, and then later had her 4 years later in 2022. So lots of learning through that too. We thought, my husband and I thought we were done after the first three because we had them so close together. We were in like multiple diaper bags and diaper sizes. My sister like cracks up because she always reminds me of the times because she would come visit our house, and in our little apartment, I would have a wall of just diapers because we live in Laie, and the closest Walmart was either in Honolulu or in Leilani. So, it was a drive. So we're buying in bulk, of course. And she laughs about the different size diaper walls we had in our apartment. So baby number 4 came after, because we were done. My husband and I were like, yeah, we pow, or so we thought. And then dreamt of her in 2018. Told my husband, I don't think we're Paul. We're supposed to have one more. And then 4 years later, we did have her. And then when she came and I hung out her, that's when I knew that I was supposed to shift in my journeys of where I was at. I was at the time working in the education system, helping Kanaka, and I do love and miss that work for sure. And some of all the things that I've done in the past was definitely being able to give back to Kamehameha schools in that way. And that was kind of a full circle moment. I was that
Yeah.
kid, knew I needed to do this in order to be Kanaka, sitting on the other side of that seat
You
for
know,
kids.
you wanted to do it and you became that. Yeah.
Yeah, fully
Yeah.
did. And it's funny, because I've had that dream. Like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be that person. And plenty of people, when the position came out, they were like, Allah, like, your dream job is there. And I was like, there's no way. They're like, no, your dream job is at KS. And I was like, for real? So I went. And when we talk about like that kind of things, like our dream jobs, and you think like, oh, is this it? I'm like in my like mid-30s, like, oh great, I hit my dream job. And
Yeah.
then realized like 5 years later, no, you're supposed to ha'alele and go do something else.
Yeah, the dream, once you achieve it, it shifts, right? And you're like,
Yeah,
"Wait a
it
second, I thought
shifts.
I hit the end point of the highest point of my life." And it's like, "No,
Right.
that was be a stepping stone for the next dream," right?
Yes. So mahalo, right? The growing through things. So it's interesting because really I thought I was gonna be there, retire there, everything. And I'm a huge planner. So I had this like, oh yeah, we're gonna be self-sustaining. Then I had my baby and I hung out her. And while I was in maternity, that's how I reached out to you, because I knew that I needed to do something different. And for whatever reason, there was a reason I dreamt of her. There was a reason she was coming into our lives 13 years after our youngest one. So I reached out. I reached out to you to see what you were doing, because I knew you were like shifting at that time too. You were shifting into coaching as well. I was like, yeah, there's something else that's meant for me, and that's how I got here. And again, look, my baby's just made 3. I am a slow progress accepting of things that I've learned in the past, but I'm trying to be more accepting now because it took me a long time to even get here. And
Expound
Kyoko was,
on that a bit. What do you mean by you're a slow learner? Because you had this epiphany like what, 3 years ago when
yeah,
you were
3
Hawaii,
years ago.
but it took you this long to, "Okay, I get it. I'm supposed to be doing this." Yeah.
Kyoko had told me right at that time, like, you need to shift. Yeah, he said, you need to shift. And I didn't listen. I was being hard headed because I didn't see the bigger picture, mainly because financially, right? So, like, you know how they say in the scriptures, put off the natural man. I totally was only natural man at that point. I
There's a lot of
totally,
fear in letting go of the
yeah.
security, right? Yeah.
Yeah, letting go of financial security, like, wait, what? I'm supposed to shift now. And when I say now, it was when we knew for sure that I was Hapai. My husband told me, oh, can I be the stay-at-home parent this time, right? Because I was the stay-at-home parent for the 3 older ones. And I said, yeah, because the job that I had sustained our ohana, and that was what I was going to go back into. And so for Kyoko to tell me, oh, you need to shift. And I'm like, how? How? So I didn't listen at first and got bust up along the way. But a year and a half after, I finally surrendered. And I don't know if it's surrendered, but it's actually more, I guess I don't know, you can give me thoughts on this too, or what you think, but I feel like surrender and accepting is kind of one and the same. I don't know, what's your
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
Yeah. It's like you stop resisting and
Yeah.
accepting is just giving that piece of like, okay, this is what it is. And surrender, I think it's like a step above accepting where I'm not just accepting this is what's happening, I'm also trusting that
Yeah.
taken care of. There's this, I'm gonna accept this is what it is, but I'm also gonna do it with ease and surrender is like it's whatever's gonna
Yeah.
happen, I'm gonna be okay. And it's creating this peace within because we can resist, but it's not the circumstances around us that causes
Yeah.
the disruption and the discomfort and all of the you getting bust up. It's that
Yeah.
resistance that not our
It
circumstances,
is.
the resistance. And once you
Yeah.
can accept and surrender and just trust, that's when there's ease that flows into it, even when there's uncertainty. Because this
Yes.
being in control is such an illusion, right? Being
It
this
is.
job security or this relationship that feels safe or my health or whatever circumstances that feel safe and secure, this control that we think we have is such an illusion. And so
It
surrender,
is.
trusting that, okay, you said Kyokua has a bigger plan for me and he's going to do what's best for me regardless of how it feels as I go through it.
Yes, yes. So yeah, all the things, all of that. That's exactly what I decided in January of 2024. I remember the exact month. I said, "Okay, Kyoko, I am accepting and surrendering. You tell me, because we think we have the greater understanding, and it's not that we don't. Sometimes we are stuck in fear or stuck in what we think we know is best, and because of what we see and what we experience, sometimes we hold on to things that are just meant to be released. Like my dream job, everyone knew that was my dream job, and then I got to participate and give back at Mahalo Pawahi in that way. And then it was like, okay, enough already, time to holomoa in other ways. And I didn't understand what it looked like.
But I think part of that is because our dream for ourselves is so limited for the
It
capacity that we truly
is.
have, right? We want to play it so safe
Yeah.
and we want to make our dreams like pennies. And God is like, no, I have this big, cool dream for you. You can't see it yet. And so we're like, why do I have to let go of
Yeah.
this? And we're so focused on the pennies. And he's like, girl, I got like $100 bills over here, and that dream to something bigger, but it feels so scary to let go of the dream that we thought
Yeah.
was the pinnacle.
So
Yeah.
true, so true, because that's exactly what it was. Hey, you were here for this time and space, and now it's like ho'opow. We are power with that now, and we need to holomua. Because if not, it's gonna get stagnant. That
Mm,
was the biggest thing. Was I realized, like, okay, you're right, Kyoko. It's just gonna get stagnant, and on top of that, the safety of where I was at the time really was not safe either for me to continue. And
yeah.
so not only was it being stagnant, Kyoko was like, you're not safe, girl. And really my kupuna, my ministry angels and my kupuna who were helping me were like, girl, we're tired. We're bust up and we're exhausted. So let's holomua. So we're all strengthening and fortifying ourselves through that process.
Yeah.
And January 2024, I accepted, I surrendered, followed Kyokua, and I only was seeing a penny version of what I thought I was meant to do. And once I got there and I thought that was it, Kyokua was like, no, there's more. There's more beyond this. And so since then, I've definitely just been in this space. It still took me another year to get here
Yeah.
to where I'm at now. But we are
Yeah.
launching and
We also throw in that like birthing and caring for a baby in the first 2 years of its life is all consuming while you're working, while you have other kids to take care of, and your body's healing, hormones are healing. And so, this is the perfect timing for you to
it
now be in a
is.
more stable place to be like, okay, I birthed the baby. Now I'm ready to birth this program and whatever's coming next, right? Yeah.
Yes, 100% for sure. So every time when I think it's not the right time, or I've been too late, or I took too long, I always have to self-reflect and be like, oh no, this actually is the perfect timing. It's the
Yes.
perfect time. It'll cause timing.
Yeah, so many people will use it as an excuse of it's too late, so why try? And it's like, no, you can still do it. And what is that saying? the best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago. The second best time is to plant it right now.
Mm.
So if you feel like you're too late, no, it's just trusting the timing and that
Yeah.
if that idea and that desire hasn't left you and is still on your heart, instead of having regret, go do something about it. It's still there for a
Yeah.
reason. Yeah.
Yes, 1,000 times yes to that.
So you have a workshop series coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so I am launching Waipahewale as a business with this 5-part workshop series. So gonna run it as 5 different workshops, and we're gonna, well, I say we because this is just not me, it is my kupuna and ancestors, that we're all gonna be present in this space. And so we, with Keokua's guidance and blessing, are gonna start off with that. It's gonna start on, and very intentional about this, starting on November 21st. November 21st is the next for all you people who follow our Kalana Mahina and our Hawaiian moon. That's the next Hilo moon that's coming up. And I live in Hilo, so, I always love the Hilo moon. A better understanding for it too now more than ever. But Hilo moon is a time of intention. It's the start of our Hawaiian moon calendar. It's the first moon. And so Hilo is actually meaning to braid. And people know the Hilo tea leaf weaving, it's the braiding. And so intentionally for the Hawaiian moon, for the Hilo moon, it is about braiding in new intentions that you're going to set for the month. And so wanting to start off this 5-part workshop series on November 21st with that intention. And then we'll be meeting every Friday for those next 4 weeks to wrap up. And we'll end, the 5th workshop will end at the end of that Kalana Mahina on December 19th with the Muku moon. So the Muku moon is the moon that actually closes off that series, that Mahina, that month.
Perfect timing. I love it. Aligns with the moon
Eh,
calendar. And
yeah.
so for this workshop series, do you have to attend all of the workshops? Can you just attend some of them? Do you have to start with the first one? Can you jump in at any time? How does that work?
Yeah, so you can jump in at any time. I'm gonna do a registration where you can enter in for the whole 5 part of the series. It's gonna be recorded. So even if you can't make it, you follow up on your own time to go back and watch the recording after we do the registration. So come in at any point in time that fits well for you. But once you put out the registration and you're in, you have access to that 5-part workshop series.
Awesome. So even if somebody doesn't hear this podcast until midway through, they can still register and get the recordings for the first couple weeks and then jump in live for the rest of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
okay. So if you're hearing this message on the call, then you know, okay, it's not too late. You can register for this workshop. And tell me the topics. Who is this for? What are you going to be talking about? What do you mean by identity, indigenous coaching? What's going to
Yeah.
be discussed?
So I should go back to how I landed with Waipahewale as a name. And I think that will help set the overall umbrella for why I'm doing what I'm doing. I've been dreaming for a long time for the last year that it has to have Vai in it. There's some form of Vai that's going to be in this name of Vai. And, Vai, and that's interestingly enough has been a business name that's been sitting on my mind for at least the last 15 years as something. I didn't know where it was going to be at the time, but now I know. And so finally, I've been coming across trying to understand which Vi are we talking about. And in a
And
dream,
I means water for those who are listening that
yes,
are not familiar.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. And in Vai is actually the word for wealth. And
Uh-huh.
so, yeah, Vai, water, very different from Kai, ocean, right? So it's different. Vai is fresh water. And so I had a dream of a kalo, had a dream of like a pico sign. So I even dreamt what the brand looked like the logo looked
Wow.
before I had that name. So I'm like, okay, Kyoko, I see the logo, I see the brand, I see the intention. And I was like, where's the Inoa? Where's the Inoa that this is gonna like ohala and grow from? So finally came and I knew it was by and I had a dream to go look in a book. And so it's our Olelo No'eau by Mary Kavena Pukui. So I went in there and I flipped. And Waipahewale is actually one of Mary Kavena Pukui's Olelo No'eau. And it means as gentle as still water. And when I
Mm.
really sat with that, and thought about it for the intention of this business and this direction I'm going. Just it felt like that is what it's supposed to be. Talking about this with my husband when I'm having these epiphanies, I am so grateful for him that he just goes along with all these spiritual discussions I have. So, but it's helpful because he and I are very opposite. So I'm telling him, I'm like, oh, I think this is a
You need the
name. And then,
anchor, right? You need that
yeah,
anchor to all the flowing ideas.
yeah. I need him
Yeah,
to help me conceptualize it too in this realm. And
yeah.
so I told him, right? And then he goes, "You mean like still water? Like the kind that just sits over there?" I was like, "No, that's stagnant water. No, no, not stagnant water. Not that kind of still water." And so he's like, "Well, you need to be more clear." And I was like, "You're right." And so as I, really sat with it in Pule, in meditation, asking Kyoko, how do I conceptualize it? And then it really came through clear, like clear as still water, gentle as still water. And what it is, it's more about that water that just sits still, like the calm waters, and the sky reflects. If it's like moonlit, the moon is like reflecting off the waters, or a waterfall is reflecting off of that water that's sitting down, right? So it's that real gentle, still, calm waters. And when we sit in that, there's a lot of things that we can have more clarity on.
Mm,
And it's like, okay, yeah, this is it. This is what we're
yeah.
birthing.
And when you think bodies, that
Yeah.
2/3 or 3/4, however much percent of it is made
Yeah.
out of water, and so
Water.
when the water within us is the energy that it carries is still and gentle, how
Yeah.
that affects our entire existence and holistic health, right? Having that still gentle water within
Yes.
our kingdom.
I know. And so having it come from within, right? Through this, healing is not about becoming something new. It's exactly how you described. It's within us. It's actually about returning to that divine identity of who we truly are. So that's the healing, and that's the growth, and that's Waipahewale.
It's not,
Yeah.
going through all the turmoil. It's just that gentle calmness, that still firm knowing of who I am. You're not
Yes.
tossed around by the wind and by troubles. You're grounded and calm through it. I love
Yeah.
it. So much meaning to it. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's why it was me launching Waipahewale. So what this 5-part workshop series is. This Waipahewale I built on 5 pillars, 5 different Hawaiian value pillars. And so each week I'm going to cover each of those pillars and each of those values, those loina, all of that. The different ones is aloha, our love. Mo'o is another pillar, and mo'o meaning many things, but lineage, and mo'olelo, so stories. The next one is na'au. So na'au is all our inner, our intuition, our balance, our intuitive balance and things. And the fourth one is ola. So ola is life, but ola in the sense of really tapping into understanding where our true self is, or understanding where our safe spaces are, and how we got to give life to those safe spaces for healing. And then the last one is akua. There's spirituality, and then there's organized religion. So spirituality and akua, that is my last pillar that I have. And so these 5 pillars are going to be a topic for each of my 5-part workshop series.
And with each of these topics that you're discussing, the goal is to help people understand how they can create more wellness, understand themselves better, understand their life circumstances, facilitate healing, and just overall wellness from
Yeah.
learning topics and how they apply to themselves.
Yes, who is this calling to? It's whoever is for anyone and everyone. If you're listening to this podcast, you come across this podcast sometime in the future, for whatever reason, you met myself and Sarah, and whatever way, fashion, or form, that is your kupuna bringing you here to this. So this is meant for you. Felina Mai, come join us. We are ready for you. So that's a larger concept. It's for those who feel they've been kind of mindlessly going through life right now. There's so much chaos going on right now in the world in general. We came out of COVID. Now we're entering into this time and space, and it's been challenging. So, whether you started a business or on a new venture, or you're in the same venture and you're feeling stagnant and lost, and you're just kind of mindlessly going through life trying to survive, because I've been there, I've been
Mhm.
surviving and I want to thrive. So now I'm in my thriving era. So if you feel like you're in this surviving era and you're trying to figure out, you've lost a little bit of the vision for yourself, or you're feeling that you're just kind of wearing too many hats, too many roles, because we all do that and we do too much role switching and we just want to wear one papale, you know. Too many papales can be too much. So if this calls out to you for whatever reason, welcome to Waipahewale.
Yes. And does somebody have to be Native Hawaiian in order to participate in your workshop?
No, definitely does not. You do not have to be Native Hawaiian to participate. You just have to have the open mind and understanding to do so, though. Because I have found in the work that I've been doing recently is if you don't come in with that open understanding, or and not that you have to be completely open, but at least with the possibility that you're here ready for a shift or a change. So if you come in with that kind of rigid thinking, it's not impossible, because I've been able to kind of work with people to break through that. Just
With
and so the
yeah.
journey might be a little bit more rough and harder to get through. Not impossible.
But I'm sure it overlaps with a lot of indigenous cultures, right? So if someone is
It does.
seeking wellness and healing or alignment or guidance from an indigenous perspective, this is probably a really good route for them, even if they're not Native Hawaiian, right?
Yes, for sure. Definitely does not need to be just Native Hawaiian.
So awesome. I'm excited for it. And for those who want to register, or how do they find the links? How do they find you or connect with you online?
So you can find me on Instagram. I am officially on Instagram, working on my website. I am on Instagram by Pahevale.
I'll drop the links for your Instagram and the registration in the show notes for you. And I always have a question that I ask people at the end of my podcast. And so the Renaissance Achiever is about people who are ambitious, they're out there, they're pivoting, they're growing, always learning. And most of them really, their goal is to impact others, right? And so I know that this is your next calling. The dream was working for Kamehameha Schools as counseling, and then it shifted into, okay, creating this, however you want to serve people in this way. But I know that there are always multiple things that we feel drawn to or called to. And so, what is a dream that you have that maybe not a lot of people know about? That maybe it's not connected to this, or maybe it is connected to this, but just on a different level.
Yes, I actually have one that's, again, been sitting many, many years, another dream. So yes, another dream that I have had for many, many years, and I'm just waiting for Kyoko to tell me when it's time to like step into that one. So the dream that maybe not too many people know about is that I've always wanted to create a space for kupuna and youth to come together in a way of passing on mo'olelo recorded digitally. So the younger generation that's so good with all the media and technology, connecting those youth with kupuna who still have mo'olelo to share because maybe they haven't had a time or space to share it in, but to bring them together in interview video format and then put it together as a makana, as a gift to their family for prosperity, mo'olelo, like genealogy storytelling.
I
That
love
has
it. That is so huge. And you know what? My husband and I actually were interested in doing that. And he had done that for his parents. And then we
yes.
lost all of the footage. And his
Oh,
passed away since. And that was a heartbreak that we do not have that footage. But since then, we did a recording of my mother and her two sisters.
oh
Um,
wow.
them sharing. stories from their childhood, and then it was a video recording just interviewing and sharing the mo'olelo, and it was so cute for them to hear a question, then someone would mention a memory, and they would all be like, oh my gosh, we haven't thought of that for long." And it was like those fond childhood memories. It was super cool, and then we've done that with my mom and dad, but not my dad and his siblings, but we never edit the editing part of the videos. It's so hard, but I think it's such a gift, and that would be so cool, to integrate the youth, to have the youth and bridge those
Yes.
generations back together. Like that's how it was, the kupuna sharing the
Yeah.
stories to the youth. And this is tied into your identity coaching, right? Because that's
It
how we understand
is.
who we are, is by hearing those stories of
Right.
previous generations.
Right, right. A lot of people talk about generational trauma, and that's
Yeah.
such a hot topic in psych and research. But I feel like just as much as we had our kupuna go through that trauma, I mean, even us, our generation still had to experience some form of that. There's so much resiliency stories and points because things made it through from generation to generation, even as much as the trauma. Like, yes, there's a lot of traumatic things that carried forward, but there are so many points and stories of resiliency and strength that has also carried forward, that has also been passed on. And sometimes I feel we need to highlight that more. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
yes.
Not just
Yeah.
focusing on all the negative. I remember having this conversation with you before and shifting perspective of instead of just focusing on the trauma, focus on the resiliency because we're still
Yeah.
standing here, right? And we turned
Yeah.
out okay. So where did we get that from? Something was handed
Right.
down through
Right.
generations, parents and their parents and their parents to get better, a little bit better each generation.
Yeah, yeah. For example, the hard decision making that they had to do, and I don't know, for some reason, the spirit's telling me share this mo'olelo right here. I got to talk with my grandma on my dad's side, so she passed away last year, Grandma Lou. So I had a college assignment. My part of my own college research study was on bicultural identity, and I interviewed my grandma as that part of that generation and my dad and some people in my generation, so 3 generations, but this just reminds me of a story she told me, because when I asked her, because my research was on bicultural identity as a Native Hawaiian and as an American, how did you negotiate your bicultural identities? And what's interesting, and I wish I had done this study when my great-grandparents were still alive to even ask them where they stood, but my grandma, she saw herself as American first and Hawaiian second growing up. And she talks about how her parents had to make those hard decisions to stop talking Hawaiian at home and telling them to go learn English. That was a hard decision that they had to make. And when I asked her, "Oh, why do you think your mom guys did that?" And she said it was so that we could survive. It's like, hey, this is the world is changing, it's shifting. Americans are here and we need this next generation to survive. And so they made that hard decision to say, for now, we're going Ho'opau the Olelo so that you guys can survive. And then when I interviewed my dad and his generation, he saw himself as Kanaka first and then American second. And when you think about it, that was during the Renaissance.
Yeah, he was raised during
So
the Renaissance for the
yeah,
identity. Yeah.
right, where it's coming back, but it's like the Kanaka before my tutu's time, my great grandparents' time, had to make those hard decisions, right? Generational trauma, we want to look at it that we lost the language, but that was a
Yeah.
decision. That was a conscious decision that they made to say, we need our Kanaka to survive. So we're going to put this generation out speaking only English. And did they know? Maybe they did. Maybe some of them did know, some of them didn't. That the very next generation, it was going to revive. Like, how
Yeah.
amazing is that, right? But then, yeah, so
But
yes, all
every
the things.
trying to do what they think is best for their kids and trying
Yeah.
to give them a better future. And it's such a bigger picture than we can see, like the system, like how to them survive in this system that we feel so helpless in. Like, you know, there was that loss, but and then there was also some brave ones that held on to the language and the culture
Yeah.
regardless. And everybody had their calling in the movement of what they needed to do.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Because you're right. because some had to still hold it, and some were gonna be that ones to come help and revive it later, right? So, yeah.
Beautiful. I love that. So generational resiliency, how can you reframe your heritage, and the stories of
Mhm.
trauma and acknowledge them that they're there. We don't want to not acknowledge them. They're a part of why we are the way we are, and they do need to be healed. And there's patterns that do need to change. And can we also find strength in the stories of resiliency? And can we even acknowledge and recognize that they're there? They're a part of who we are too. Beautiful. I love it. I'm
Yeah.
excited for all of the knowledge and wisdom that's going to be dropped in your workshop series. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, and I wanted to thank you too, Sarah. Thank you for being my constant girl. You gotta do this, girl. Hurry up, people are waiting. And then, so how fitting, mahalo too for inviting me on this platform that you have to introduce and launch here. So I am so grateful. So mahalo too for you for stepping into your calling.